Hey, welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Gear. This beast in my hands is the Headrush pedal board that I just picked up not long ago. And I want to talk to you about this little machine because this little guy really is amazing. You know, I'm a little bit miffed at myself because I vowed after the last two pedal boards that I bought that I wouldn't waste my time and energy with pedal boards anymore, and I'd go back to pedals because, you know, in my opinion, I think the sounds from straight ahead pedals, individual pedals, is where it's at, you know, and I didn't want to waste any more time with all-in-ones that didn't do what I needed them to do. And I tried a few different ones. I tried one from Boss way back. I tried another one which was a little bit more recent from line 6, and they all had really good things about them. But one thing that really bothered me about them was the fact that I was never able to get quite the sound I got at home when I took the pedal board out in a live situation. So when the Headrush came out, and it's been out since 2017, it's not extremely old in terms of an offer that's out there, but it is different, and I wanted to give it a shot and see what it has to offer. So I picked one up, and I've been playing around with it for the last, I'd say, week or two. And so far, I'm really blown away by what I'm hearing, and especially by the way this gadget works. I can honestly tell you guys that if you're reluctant to buy something like this because you feel that the learning curve is too steep, I guarantee you that this is probably one of the easier systems out there to use. Now, of course, it's not inexpensive. This unit retails for about $1,600, so it's not cheap, but I think that it offers the right amount of effects and flexibility without necessarily going overboard. There are units out there like the Axe Effects modules that are available that are also quite good, very expensive, but the learning curve for those is even steeper in my opinion. You can probably do more with them, but probably the bulk of the stuff that you're going to be able to do with them is stuff that you're probably not going to use all that often. So for a person that's looking for a really solid, versatile unit, this one really does the job. I'm really happy with it so far, and I was really set on being disappointed. You know, I thought to myself, here we go again. This is going to be another colossal waste of time when you're trying to dial in tones and you're spending more time trying to dial in your tones than actually playing. But I was pleasantly surprised because I was able to create practically my entire set list, which is a lot of songs, in very, very little time. I actually was able to create it like in record time compared to the other systems that I've used in the past. This one is really a cinch to use. So I'm going to be creating a few videos for you guys to go in a lot of detail because there's really a lot of stuff packed into this thing that I want to discuss with you, and I can't do it in one video. So this is really an intro video for you guys. I just want to say that, you know, for $1,600, you're getting a lot for your money. The unit is really solid. It weighs a ton. The chassis is made of like, you know, solid metal. It's basically a steel chassis. You know, there's very little plastic here in the chassis, and you can really tell just by the weight of it. It's really, really solid. It's got a universal power supply, which is fantastic if you're gigging with it and you're traveling with it. That comes in handy anywhere you go. Of course, you have all the necessary MIDI ins and outs, the effects loops. You have your, you know, headphones. You can put auxiliary inputs in here. You can plug in a USB device. You have additional inputs in the back for other pedals that you can use actual pedals with, or you can use other effects unit, not effects unit, but expression pedals with. It has an onboard expression pedal, again made of metal, like not a plastic cheap thing. This thing's really, really good quality. It doubles as a, you can actually use it as a volume pedal or a wah pedal or other types of expression pedals. that are built into the default programs in here. One thing that I really love about this unit, and it's you know, I'm sorry, but it's not even on. You can't even see it. But you have a beautiful large display in here. This display looks like the display you would have on an iPad. And what's really great about the unit is that the display itself is touch sensitive. So you can drag and drop stuff with the actual display. You can tap things and get into menu options directly from here. You can also use the knobs if you're a knobby freak, a knob freak. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. If you like the old-fashioned analog type of tactile knobs, you have those here as well. The other really beautiful thing that I like about this unit is the fact that you can pretty much set anything on this unit without necessarily having to bend over to do it. And you know, you have access to the screen. I'm just going to put it like this. This thing weighs a ton. You have access to the screen, but you can also change all of the options that you see presented on the screen just by using the expression pedal as well as these switches here. So if you don't like, you know, bending over every time you got to make a change, this really comes in handy. Of course, there's really very visible LED displays in here. There's lights that light up, and they're very, very bright and easy to see. And they're matched with the pedals and stuff that you have when you program the unit. So they change color depending on which patch you're using where. And you can easily drag and drop all of these with the screen and move them around as you wish. You also have a segment display underneath every one of these pedal switches that you actually can use to display the name of your patch. Like, there's so much built into this thing, and I really can't even begin to scratch the surface in one video. So far, I can guarantee you I'm very impressed with the unit. The next videos, I'll show you some of the ways you can actually build up sounds. I'll actually even show you how the screen works, how you can get into deep menu items very easily, how you can set global settings for your sounds, a whole bunch of stuff. You can even connect this to your computer, by the way. You can download impulse responses directly from the company's website, or you can get third-party impulse responses and you can load them in very easily as well. So you're not limited to the cabinets that are built in the modeler. You can use the unit as an actual rig emulation, so you can actually use the pedals and cabinet simulations, or you can use only the effects without the cabinet simulations if you don't want to. If you want to go into your amplifier and just use this for effects, you can do that as well. It's a great way to be able to record. If you're looking for something to be able to record with that's transportable, you have a lot of selection in here. There's a ton of patches that come standard in the unit that you can experiment with, but I went ahead and actually built my own. Now, one thing I can say, and this thing's like so heavy it's digging into my thigh here, but one thing I can say is that one of the things that I was truly impressed with was the fact that I didn't have to even crack open the manual to be able to figure out how to use this. And I feel like I probably understand 95% of how this unit works. Maybe apart from like some really intricate things when it comes to actually setting scenes, you know, you can probably do it all without even having to read the manual, and that speaks volumes. A lot of other units that I've tried were not that easy to understand. The scenes that I was speaking about 2 seconds ago are basically the ability to set your rig the way you want it, using the effects that you want, the cabinet emulations that you want and whatnot. But let's say you're going into a specific song, and the song requires a solo part where you might want to turn on a phaser or a flanger or a delay, or maybe remove the reverb. So it would basically require you to tap dance on the pedals or the switches, maybe turn on and off a couple of different ones to do that, which is not very handy when you're playing in a live situation. You want to do that very quickly. So when you create a scene, you can actually dedicate 1 or 2 switches on the unit to be able to easily just hit that switch, and you could turn on and off a combination of different types of effects. So, you know, it's almost acting like a MIDI controller would, which is also pretty fantastic. It also has a built-in looper function, and I believe the unit allows you to do up to 20 minutes of looping. And you can also do things like reverse the loop and whatnot, punch in, punch out, all these kinds of crazy things that you can experiment with. One of the things that I always tell my friends, if you're trying to get into one of these units, you have to understand that the default settings usually are not the best. And it's the same for this unit here. The default settings are okay. They're a good foundation to start off with, but if you want to actually build your sounds yourself, what I recommend you do is you actually plug in your MP3 player, your iPhone, whatever you're using to stream your music these days. Plug it into the aux in, take a good set of headphones that are made for recording, something that you can use as a reference. Don't use like a, you know, a heavily boosted type of headset. You want something that's relatively flat and true, and you can use your headphones then to match up the sounds that you're hearing on your MP3 player, and you're going to be able to dial in the sounds pretty closely because you're hearing the music in your headphones as well as your actual setting that you're playing with, and you can match it very, very nicely just using your headphones as a reference. And then once you have it dialed in the way you want it to be, then what I would recommend is, depending on how you're playing the sounds out of the unit. So for example, if you're plugging into a PA system or you're going into an amp cabinet, for example, then I would recommend listening to those sounds again, playing it through the actual source that you're going to be using, and then tweaking to the final, you know, the final details in or out. So you hear things differently in headphones than you would hear, for example, playing through a PA or through an amplifier. So that for me would be the easiest way to get very, very close to the final sounds that you want to use. And I'll make you hear some of the sounds that I built up, and I'll even show you how I build up my sounds using the actual unit. So far, guys, I'm really super impressed. I don't think it's a waste of money. You know what? I traded an amplifier for this that I wasn't really using all that much, and you guys know me, I'm constantly bringing things in and trading stuff off, and if I don't use it on a regular basis, I basically just flip it, right? So there was one particular amp, my Supro dual tone, which I really do love. It's a great amplifier, but I wasn't using it enough because I have other amplifiers here that I'm using more frequently, and it was basically just gathering dust. And I know I probably will end up buying it again in a later date because it is a really fantastic amplifier, but I felt like trading that particular amp for this unit was a good thing because I have so much more that I can actually do with this unit on a regular basis that I wasn't able to do with that amplifier. Specifically use headphones. You know, I'm at home most of the time when I'm playing and practicing, and let me tell you, my wife is a saint because she hasn't thrown anything at my head recently, especially after I got my Friedman Dirty Shirley, and you know, that amplifier just begs you to crank it. So now I'm able to get a lot of those tones right from here. I'm able to listen to it through headphones, which keeps my wife happy. I'm able to play at any time I want, all hours of the night, without any issues. And I really think that this will be able to give me the sounds I want in a live situation. Of course, I'll report back to you once I try it for the first time in a live situation, because I haven't done it yet, but I'm getting prepared and I'm putting all my set lists in here. So that's it for now, guys. So stay tuned if you're interested in reviewing, listening to my review of the Headrush. If you're interested in buying this unit or you're considering buying it, you might want to stay tuned for those follow-up videos because there's going to be a lot of them, man. There's so much stuff to talk about in here. So suffice it to say, there'll be lots of interesting topics coming your way. So in the meantime, guys, hit the little bell if you want to be reminded that the videos are being posted, so you don't miss any of the great stuff. And in the meantime, guys, stay tuned and keep rocking. Thank you for joining me once again.